Is now the time for the United States to use bunker busters? What would that mean? Is it worth it? Okay, so you keep hearing about these massive bombs so heavy that only we have the planes and capability to deploy them, which would mean America would have to do it. Let's discuss the risk and the potential, the plus minus of it, okay? Former Deputy National Security Advisor from President Trump's first administration, my friend KT McFarland, and the Chair of Urban Warfare Studies at West Point, John Spencer, who's sitting right next to me. John, it's great to be with you in person. Thank you for the challenge coin. KT, what is your sense here of what makes the most sense for the president to do in this regard?
Look, I don't think he's made a decision yet. And I've been with President Trump in the Situation Room where he's faced those decisions, where he made the decision early in his first term to bomb the Syrian airfields where they were using chemical weapons against their own people. He's a reluctant warrior. He's got a goal in mind. In this case, he said Iran isn't going to have nuclear weapons. But how he gets to that goal, he could try a number of different things. So here's what he's doing right now. He's sitting in the Situation Room, which is like a large conference room at a large conference table. And he's got the Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, National Security Advisor, maybe now Secretary of State. And he's got all the people. He's going around the room, and he's going to say, all right, what are our options? What is the risk of success? What's the risk of failure? What could go wrong? What could go right? He'll probably come up with a couple of options on his own. But his end goal, to always take him seriously, his end goal is Iran's not going to have nuclear weapons. But don't take him necessarily literally when he says, what, today, tomorrow. He's just looking for avenues in. One of the conversations that he's going to be having is, what is Israel's capability? I mean, everyone is now saying it's either U.S. bunker buster bombs or Iran keeps the nukes. Maybe there are other alternatives. Are there cyber attacks that the Israelis could do? Is there espionage that the Israelis could do? We know that they have units on the ground, commando units on the ground, and something they could do just on the ground. The other thing he's going to be looking at is what's happening with the senior leadership of Iran. I think he's playing with the Ayatollah's head when he says, we know right where you are. We know how we could get you anytime. So what is happening in the senior leadership of Iran and the war councils? Is there somebody sitting around that room thinking, gee, I think we're going in the wrong direction, let's have a palace coup? Or is there likely to be some kind of an uprising of the Iranian people? Trump is going to look at all those things before he makes a decision, and I think he's got some time before he has to make that decision.
John, do you agree with the idea that we have time here? And what do you understand about how these massive munitions work and how sure you can be that they worked?
Well, I absolutely believe there's always time, and there are all these risk considerations, moving certain positions. We know the aircraft carriers getting into position. The more you can reduce that unknown risk of potential things that Iran could do, retaliate. Maybe it's performative and they just launch something near an air base. But the penetrators are what they sound like, massive penetrating weapons of over 20,000 pounds. That actually use kinetic energy to push into the ground to hit that deep buried thing and then blow up inside of the ground. If it's used, it'll get the job done. I agree with KT, though. Even Israel called their operation in Syria Operation Many Ways when they put commandos on the ground to go inside the bunker and blow it up from inside. There are many ways to get the job done, but I think we should all agree that it has to be done.
How vulnerable are the ships that are necessary to drop those bombs?
No, they fly at pretty high rate, and Israel would be a part of this in creating the corridor, just like they did in the opening moments of this. They gained air supremacy and superiority at the same time by taking out the radar and the drones that would catch this up, let alone something to shoot at it. There's always risk. I think the risk has been reduced by Israel.
And in terms of what it means, so you drop these bombs, you say they'll do what they're supposed to do, but wouldn't you have to go in there? Wouldn't somebody have to check and see what is left of the operation and how serious it still is?
So there is that, and you have a way to test if there is any leakage of anything. But if you drop one of these, and that's the ideal, you need one as well. Israel's also infamous now at drilling, where they drop more than one bunker buster on the same location. They dropped 50 and 30 seconds on Mohammed Sinwar to make sure, no matter what was underground was dead and gone. So I don't necessarily think that you need to go and dig it out to make sure you got it. You might have to leave coverage over to in case somebody comes after you and to start poking around, which is a part of the kind of the follow-on operation.
Thank you for watching. Subscribe below and download our NewsNation app right now on your phone, and you will get fact-based, unbiased news for all Americans.